Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Xbox On, and this week we've been playing an absolute ton of the Gwent beta.
It's got us thinking about mini games that are almost as good as the main game, so here's our top 8. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I mention Grand Theft Auto? Guns, murder, ladies of the night, golf? Okay, maybe not that last one.
But it should come to mind as it's pretty damn brilliant. We all know that Grand Theft Auto 5 is a huge game, and the different activities you can get up to are endless. From base jumping to yoga to scuba diving to tennis, it's safe to say that you're not short of a minigame or two when you head to Los Santos.
But you know what's a nice thing to do after an exhausting day of robbery and murder? A few rounds on the green.
Yes, it's time to get your golf shoes on and get your pastel-coloured jumpers out of the wardrobe because things are about to get competitive. In GTA 5, you can play out a proper game of golf carts and all. Start by paying $100 to play a round, take the shot, putt it in, then drive off down to the next hole. It's even taken seriously. Fail to abide to the rules and you'll find yourself disqualified with the game over.
All I did was run over 3 granddads with a golf cart and blow up the main reception. I paid my $100, okay? I'll enjoy it however I see fit.
Of course, this being the world's premium thug simulator, if the round isn't going your way, you can always take violent revenge on your fellow golfers. That's the best thing about golf, it puts a deadly weapon in your hand. And if you really want to be the master of all things golf, then you can buy the Los Santos Golf Club for a mere $150 million. I mean, it may seem steep, but then you can play for free. Considering a game is $100, you've only got to play 1.5 million times to get your money's worth.
And if you haven't improved after 1.5 million games, it might be worth hanging up the golf clubs, mate. You're just not that good.
If you found yourself in the radioactive world of Fallout 4, would you really have time to go hunting for minigames? Wouldn't it be better to focus on trying not to die horribly? Or maybe a little bit of light entertainment is exactly what you're looking for in the Commonwealth. When your next door neighbor is whatever the hell this is meant to be, and your whole life is spent running between settlements under attack, it's nice to have a bit of downtime. So what kind of fun distractions can we find in Fallout 4? You could kiss your ankles goodbye and try base jumping, or you could play dress up with Preston Garvey, the human Ken doll. You could even take a trip to Nuka World and try your hand at its various games in the Nuka-cade. Playing a round of Whack-A-Commie or trying to land a hoop shot would be fun if it didn't cost a small fortune in arcade tokens. War never changes, nor does overcharging at amusement parks. No, for the survivor on a budget, we recommend Pip-Boy game tapes. Once found in the rubble, you slot these tapes into your all-in-one Riz computer and can play as much as you like. They're not bad either, most of them taking inspiration from real-world arcade classics. There's Zeta Invaders, a riff on Space Invaders, or how about Pitfall, which is, you guessed it, Pitfall. At least with Red Menace, the name is trying a bit harder to cover up its Donkey Kong link. Just because the creators of the original games will be long dead by 2287 doesn't mean that you can just go and rip them off, right? Our favourite of the bunch is Grognak and the Ruby Ruins, a turn-based RPG that will actually take you a little while to play through. If you find yourself making some bad life choices with your in-game companions, then maybe you'll do a better job in the world of Grognak. For offering a tiny respite from the hell of the Commonwealth, Fallout games are a must.
What do you get when you mix bright colours, funky music, exploding lights, and a whole bunch of space?
No, it's not that dodgy disco from the end of year 6 party, but Geometry Wars. Geometry Wars can easily be classed as the most successful breakaway minigame ever. What some don't realise is that it started off life in Project Gotham Racing 2. So here's the deal, when you're in your garage eyeing up your beautiful cars, you can enter walk mode. Why not go for a stroll around your sexy automobiles? But wait, what's that? An arcade machine? I smell a hidden minigame. And it smells like space. From here on, you can dive into Geometry Wars, shooting all those bright-coloured spaceships with skill and finesse.
And of course, blowing up into a million pieces when you've just got a crazy high combo. Yeah, and I'm not still bitter about that.
It's easy to forget all about the cars and get lost in the great unknown. Geometry Wars is simple yet addictive fun. Shoot the enemies trying to kill you, rack up high combos, get incredibly stressed as the enemies multiply so the whole screen is just a horrible blur of beautiful evil colours, and then cry a bit when one of the bad guys bumps into you and you explode. Then just do all that over again repeatedly for the next 6 hours.
No, you're addicted to Geometry Wars! Can I just play a little bit more before the next section? Just like 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
The great thing for me and fellow Geometry War addicts is that it's broken away from its minigame prison and has become a successful series in its own right. There are 6 installments and its loyal fan base and popularity continues to grow. Just spare a thought for all those cars now gathering dust.
Do you love the guns and headshots in Resident Evil 5, but wish you could enjoy them without that constant fear of being chewed on by a zombie? Well then you need mercenaries in your life. Okay, so the hordes of enemies in Capcom's Score Attack can still chow down on Chris Redfield and friends, but the arcade nature of mercenaries makes it a much friendlier place to mess around in when compared to the story mode. The mode drops you in locations from the main game and gives you 2 minutes to drop as many of the infected as you can. Getting to the end in 2 minutes is easy, getting there in style is not. You get extra points for chaining combos and there are pickups to earn you more time. And it gets even better in co-op, unless you're partnered with a maniac who will blow you up with a rocket launcher. What I really love about Mercenaries is that Resident Evil gets to let its hair down. If you get tired of bullets, why not throw chicken eggs instead? And why wear military uniform when you can dress Chris Redfield in mad zebra striped pimp suit, or have Shiva wear a Little Red Riding Hood costume? My granny, what a large insect tentacle you have.
Even better, if you pick up Resident Evil 5's HD Remaster on Xbox One, it comes with the No Mercy add-on, previously made for PC. In this version of Mercenaries, the enemy count is quadrupled, turning every map into a scene from World War Z. If you're finding it a bit of a nightmare, why not try it with Chris Redfield's heavy metal costume? An endless supply of zombies plus infinite gasoline gun equals a hell of a lot of fun.
It's even enough to make Frank West jealous.
Now, when it comes to the beautiful game, I'm not the most knowledgeable person.
I don't support a team. I couldn't care less if Arsenal equalise in the Championships League, and the offside rule might as well be in French for all I know. I'm so bad at football that when I played FIFA 17's The Journey mode, Alex Hunter ended up working at Burger King. In short, football and video games just don't gel into a cohesive whole for me.
Oh, come on, ref, he was robbed. He totally died. How does that sound? Was that convincing?
Thankfully, there's a football spin on a game which is not only fun and addictive, but features a character who doesn't actually have legs to tackle. The game is Rayman Legends Kung Foot. It doesn't look like much on that menu screen, but dive into the painting and you'll find an incredible game.
The premise of Kung Foot is simple. 2 goals, 1 ball, 2 really weird looking characters.
Or, if you really feel like ending all your friendships at once, you can enlist 4 people. I would have suggested an Xbox on Team Battle, but I don't feel like getting fired for throwing a controller at our producer's head and calling him a The simplicity is key here. Punch and kick the ball into your enemy's goal, all whilst they're trying to bat it away and score a goal themselves. The skill is in the timing and how good you are at elbowing your friend in the ribs as you play.
I warn you, this bad boy can cut through glass.
It's a timed match which adds to the frantic nature of the game, and before you know it, you're in the last 10-second stretch, frantically smashing a ball around with Glowbox's ridiculous face.
When the game is finished and you're left with a smashed controller and no friends, you'll realise you probably should have just stayed in and watched the footy instead.
Considering that Gwent is the real reason we're doing this video, we had to feature the original minigame in our list. Some people will tell you The Witcher is about the end of the world and a strange mutant man out to stop it. Other people say it's about chopping off monsters' heads or wooing every wench you come across, but for us, all that stuff is just there to distract you from the real quest, becoming the greatest Gwent player in the land.
You strike me as a man of the world. Are you familiar with Gwent?
It's actually pretty difficult to explain the rules of Gwent without putting everyone to sleep, but I'll try my best.
The Earth shall revolve around the sun before you comprehend these rules.
Gwent is a card game all about cunning and skill. You're basically trying to place down cards that have a greater attack power than your opponent, but you're limited to just 10 cards a game, and there are so many special abilities that can screw you over. There are weather cards that nuclear attack a certain units, or spy cards that let you draw extra cards by infiltrating the rival army. The potential strategies are incredibly deep. And if that's too complicated and boring for you, they also have pretty pictures. A big part of what makes Gwent so awesome is that it isn't just a minigame, but a huge part of Geralt's world. Gwent is like the Witcher's equivalent of Pokemon Go. Everyone's playing it, and you're introduced to it by a nerd in a pub, and are soon tracking down hundreds of cards by beating any barkeep or merchant who will give you a game. CD Projekt Red even work it into the missions. In the mission, A Dangerous Game, you have to bet a man's life on a round of Gwent. No pressure. And in the high-stakes mission, you enter an elite Gwent competition which can end in a fistfight.
The mutant cheated! I'll gouge those devilish eyes out with my bare hands!
Never before has a minigame been so carefully folded into the wider world, though prepare to lose around 50 hours of your life if you're going to try and get all the cards.
You know what I'm sick of? Games that force you to do crazy puzzles while stuck in a sheep nightmare, all the while being chased by the butt monster from hell. I mean, come on, game devs, change the record. Jeez.
Okay, so there's more to Catherine than butt monsters from hell, but it's definitely something that comes to mind. Catherine is certainly a unique idea for a game. One half of it is made up of fiendish puzzles which consist of pushing and pulling blocks around, whilst the other half is spent in a bar, chatting to your mates, answering text messages and getting drunk.
My kind of game, really. Cheers.
One of the cool things you can do in the bar is play an arcade machine called Rapunzel. The game mimics the same gameplay as Catherine. You push and pull blocks around to try and save Rapunzel, climbing your way higher and higher as the levels get progressively more difficult. If anything, the minigame is more intense than the main game, with 128 levels and only 3 extra lives each night.
You've got to give it to Catherine. Adding a minigame which is basically longer and more intense than the game itself is pretty unique.
It's not just there for superficial reasons either. As you progress through the levels, you can collect items and those all go towards a true ending. The story in the minigames mimics what's happening in Catherine, and even characters who are sucked into the nightmare block climbing every night are also obsessed with playing Rapunzel in the bar.
The ending of Rapunzel is pretty dark too. It ends with a curse and the words, "brings misery upon the worlds of men." I hope you're listening to this, Benny.
Indeed, there doesn't seem to be a happy way out of your block climbing misery, and even saving the girl won't set things right. The good thing about Rapunzel though is that if it all gets a bit too much, you can stop and grab a beer or 8 to take your mind off things.
Who needs a nightmare with the butt monster from hell and a never-ending curse when you've got beer? Bottoms up.
If you tried your hand at Gwent but found it a little bit geeky for your liking, Red Dead Redemption offers some more manly alternatives. If you don't care much for health and safety, there are plenty of fun side activities in Red Dead Redemption. You can watch faintly inappropriate movies in a grotty cinema, or play a round of who will chop off their finger first. If you're a real thrill seeker, you can try a duel, though you don't tend to get a second attempt if it goes wrong. And if you'd rather wager your money than your life, we recommend a game of poker. Now I know what you're thinking, poker is poker. What can possibly be exciting about poker? Well, Red Dead Redemption does an amazing job in bringing what's a boring card game to life. It's the atmosphere of the game that gets us. There are games played in shady back rooms, rickety shacks and swanky saloons. The nicer the joint, the higher the price to join a game. Once you're in the game, you get to stare your rivals in the face. You watch their beady eyes for tell.
That deal almost ruined me.
Listen to idle chit-chat for local gossip, and see them slump off in despair when you take all their money. It feels so much more alive than most card games that you'll play. Now, of course, my personal favorite is a bit of cheating. Wait, don't put that in. I never cheat. I don't cheat. Yes, this being a world crawling with criminals, it only makes sense that you can indulge in a bit of crooked play yourself. Purchase the elegant suit from For Thieves Landing, and John gains the ability to pocket a card at the start of a round. In a clever twist, you have to carefully balance a cheating gauge as you do it. Mess it up and the other players force you to have a fight to the death. Now, Lydia actually suggested that we do this in World's Hardest Achievements, but I thought it would get a little messy. For capturing the game of poker in all its seedy glory, there's no other game we want to see at number 1. So there we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and let us know what you think in the comments below.
And make sure to smash that like button and watch another one of our awesome list videos. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Bye.